The phone is silent, but your body is not. There is a strange, low-frequency hum of anticipation that lives in your nervous system. It's a physical state, a tension in the chest, a subtle holding of the breath every time you pick up your phone, a phantom vibration you feel in your pocket that turns out to be nothing. This silence is not empty. It's loud. It's filled with questions you can't ask, with conversations you replay in your mind, with the ghost of a feeling that was so real you start to wonder if you invented it. He is silent, but you are certain he is thinking of you. This certainty is not logical. It's a deeper, intuitive knowing that clashes violently with the blank screen in your hand. And this is the conflict that is draining your life force. The war between your intuition and the reality of his absence. You've read the advice. You've heard the theories. He's busy. He's just not that into you. Men are simple, but none of it lands. None of it explains the depth of the connection you felt. It doesn't explain the way he looked at you, the things he said that seemed to come from a place beyond casual interest. It doesn't explain why the silence feels less like an ending and more like a painful, protracted pause. So you find yourself in a private, lonely loop. You check his social media, not to stalk, but to search for a sign, a clue, any proof that the man you connected with still exists behind this wall of silence. You analyze his online status, the time he was last active. Each piece of data is a breadcrumb that leads you deeper into a labyrinth of your own making, a labyrinth where you are the only prisoner. You tell yourself you've stopped chasing, and maybe you have. You no longer send the first text. You no longer ask his friends about him. But the real chasing isn't happening on your phone. It's happening in your mind. Every thought dedicated to decoding his behavior is a form of energetic chasing. Every moment spent in the waiting room of his validation is a moment you are abandoning yourself. But what if this silence is not what it seems? What if it's not a simple game of cat and mouse? And what if your response to it has the power to transform the entire dynamic? Not by forcing him to speak, but by changing the very nature of the silence itself. This is where we must go deeper than surface-level dating advice. We must look at the psychological mechanics at play, the unseen forces that govern these painful dynamics of push and pull. This is not about learning a new trick to make him text you. This is about understanding the profound shift that happens when a woman's silence stops being a strategy and becomes a boundary. It's the difference between holding your breath and finally, truly, breathing on your own. The common interpretation of a man's silence is that it's a power move, a deliberate tactic to create anxiety, to make you miss him, to keep you on the hook while he explores his options. And sometimes, this is true. The world is full of games played by egos seeking validation. But there is another layer, a much deeper and more common reality that is rarely discussed. It's a reality rooted in the structure of the male psyche, particularly in his relationship with his own vulnerability. From a Jungian perspective, what we are often witnessing is not a game of power, but a crisis of the ego. When a man feels a connection that is deeper than he is consciously prepared for, it can trigger an internal alarm. This connection activates what Carl Jung called the anima, the inner feminine archetype within a man's unconscious. The anima is the gatekeeper to his soul, his emotions, his creativity, and his capacity for true relatedness. When a woman genuinely reflects a positive aspect of his anima, he doesn't just feel attraction, he feels a sense of coming home, a sense of recognition that is both exhilarating and terrifying. For a man whose persona, his social mask, is built on being in control, logical, strong, and independent, this sudden flood of feeling is deeply destabilizing. His ego, the center of his conscious identity, perceives this vulnerability as a threat. It's a loss of control. The feeling is too big, too unpredictable. It doesn't fit into the neat boxes of his life. So, what does the ego do when it feels threatened? It builds a fortress, and the quickest, most effective material for that fortress is silence. His silence is not necessarily a cold, calculated rejection of you. It is often a desperate, unconscious attempt to manage his own internal chaos. He is not withdrawing from you so much as he is withdrawing from the overwhelming feeling you activated within him. He goes quiet to try and regain his footing, to push the feelings back down into the unconscious where they feel manageable. He thinks that if he can just stop the communication, he can stop the feeling. He is still thinking of you. In fact, he may be thinking of you more than ever, but he is thinking of you from inside his fortress. He is replaying your conversations, wrestling with the feelings, trying to rationalize them away. He might tell himself he's too busy for a relationship, that it's the wrong time, that you're too different. These are stories his ego tells him to protect itself from the terrifying prospect of surrender, the surrender to a feeling he cannot control. The paradox is that the more real the connection, the more likely this withdrawal is to happen in a man who is not yet integrated with his own emotional depth. He is silent not because he feels nothing, but because he feels too much. And this is the first crucial shift in understanding for you. His silence is not a measure of your worth. It is a measure of his own internal conflict. He is locked in a battle with his own shadow, with the vulnerable parts of himself that he has been taught to suppress. You just happen to be the catalyst that brought the battle to the surface. But this understanding is only the first half of the equation, because his silence, his withdrawal, does not happen in a vacuum. It triggers a corresponding mechanism in your own psyche, and this is where your power truly lies. When he pulls away, what is the immediate wound that is activated in you? For many women, it is the profound and primal fear of abandonment. This is not just a simple feeling of being slighted. It is a deep, emotionally charged pattern that Carl Jung would call a complex. An abandonment complex is an unconscious network of memories, emotions, and beliefs that gets triggered by any situation that resembles being left, forgotten, or deemed unworthy. This complex doesn't care about logic. It doesn't care that you are a successful, intelligent, and capable woman. When it is activated by his silence, it hijacks your nervous system. It plunges you back into the emotional state of a child who fears being left alone. Your adult mind knows you will survive, but your unconscious believes it is a matter of life and death. This is why the obsession feels so powerful. It's not just your mind trying to solve a puzzle. It's your entire being trying to prevent a perceived catastrophe. The complex demands resolution. It screams, "Do something, fix this, get him back, prove that you are not being abandoned." And so, you begin to chase. Maybe not with texts, but with your energy. You are mentally leaning into his space, trying to feel what he's feeling, trying to send him thoughts, trying to manifest a message. You are performing emotional labor for two people. You are trying to manage his feelings from a distance, hoping that if you just send enough love and understanding, he will feel safe enough to come out of his fortress. This is the shadow of the good and understanding woman. The persona you may have adopted is that of the healer, the patient one, the woman who can love a man into wholeness. Your animus, your inner masculine principle, might be telling you that the way to secure love is to solve his problems, to be infinitely understanding of his fears. But look at the result. You are exhausted. You are anxious. Your life has shrunk down to the size of a phone screen. You are not living in your own center. You are living in the empty space he left behind. The complex has you in its grip, and it is feeding on your life force. The silence on his side is an ego defense, but the waiting on your side is a complex activation. This is the toxic dance, and the only way to stop the dance is for one person to stop moving. So what happens when you stop? Not as a tactic, not as a no-contact rule you follow like a recipe, secretly hoping it will force him to miss you. But what happens when you genuinely, truly stop? This is the turning point. This is where silence transforms from a game of waiting into a declaration of self. When you first decide to pull your energy back, it will feel terrifying. Your abandonment complex will scream in protest. It will tell you, if you stop thinking about him, he will forget you forever. This is your last chance. It will flood you with anxiety and a powerful urge to check your phone, to post a story you hope he'll see, to do something to remind him you exist. This is the critical moment. This is the test. Can you sit with that discomfort? Can you feel the fear of being forgotten and not act on it? Can you, for the first time, Choose to soothe your own anxiety instead of trying to manage his. When you do this, you are not just being silent. You are creating a boundary. It's an energetic boundary that says, my inner peace is no longer available for negotiation. My emotional well-being is no longer dependent on your communication. I am no longer holding a space for you. I am reclaiming that space for myself. This is not a cold or angry act. It is an act of profound self-love. It is a message you send not to him, but to your own unconscious. You are telling the frightened inner child within you, I will not abandon you. I am here. I will not leave you to wait for someone else to decide your worth. At first, his ego might not even notice. He is still inside his fortress, wrestling with his own feelings. But the energetic dynamic has fundamentally changed. The energetic cord you were using to chase him has gone slack. There is no more energy flowing from you to him. The space around him, which was once filled with your longing and your questions, is now empty. And this new emptiness is a different kind of silence. It's a silence that he will eventually feel. He may not know how to name it, but he will sense a shift. The pressure is off. The push-pull dynamic has lost its tension. He is now alone with his feelings in a way he wasn't before. Before, his silence was a reaction to your presence, your energy. Now, he is simply silent. And in that pure silence, he is forced to confront the true source of his feelings, himself. He is no longer able to unconsciously blame the intensity on you chasing him. He can no longer tell himself he needs space because you are too much. You have given him all the space in the universe, and in that vast space, he will either feel relief or he will feel your absence like a physical ache. If he feels relief, it means the connection was not as deep for him as it was for you. It may have been a powerful projection, an infatuation that couldn't survive the reality. And while that hurts, your silence has given you a gift, the truth. It has saved you weeks, months, or even years of waiting for someone who was never truly available. Your boundary has protected you. But if the connection was real, your absence will begin to haunt him, not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, persistent one. He will find himself thinking of you at odd times. A song on the radio, a phrase someone says, it will all lead back to you. He will start to miss not just you, but the way he felt when he was with you. He will miss the part of himself, his anima, his soul, that you awakened. His ego's fortress of silence, which was built to protect him from being overwhelmed, now becomes his prison. The silence is no longer a shield, it is a cage, and he is the only one with the key. This is the point where his ego begins to crack. The pride that kept him from texting, the fear of looking vulnerable. It all starts to seem less important than the pain of your genuine absence. He will start to wonder what you are doing. Is she seeing someone else? Did she forget about me? For the first time, he is the one in the state of uncertainty. The dynamic has been completely reversed, not through manipulation, but through your radical commitment to your own center. This is not a guarantee that he will come back. No one can promise that. The goal of this inner work is never to control another person's behavior. The goal is to reclaim your own sovereignty. But if he does decide to reach out, he will not be met by the same woman. He will not find a woman anxiously waiting by the phone, ready to accept any breadcrumb of attention he offers. He will find a woman who is grounded in her own life, a woman whose happiness is not contingent on his presence, a woman who has learned that her own silence can be a source of power and peace. She is no longer a participant in the game. She has created a new one, with new rules, where her self-worth is the only prize that matters. If this is resonating with a truth you felt but couldn't name, take a moment to acknowledge it. The journey from anxious waiting to sovereign silence is one of the most profound transformations a woman can undertake. Let's explore the practical steps of this transformation. It's one thing to understand the theory. It's another to live it when your heart is aching and the silence is deafening. The first step is to mourn. You must allow yourself to feel the grief of the situation as it is right now. The grief for the connection you thought you had, the disappointment, the sadness. Don't try to rush past this with positive affirmations. Your complex is fueled by suppressed emotion. By giving yourself permission to feel the pain without judgment, you begin to take the energy out of the obsessive loop. Cry if you need to. Write it all down in a journal that you will never send. Let the emotion move through you. The second step is a radical shift in focus. Every time you find your thoughts drifting to him, what is he thinking? Is he hurting? Will he ever reach out? You must consciously and gently redirect your focus back to yourself. Ask a different set of questions. What am I feeling in my body right now? What do I need in this moment? What is one small thing I can do to bring myself a sense of peace or joy? This is a practice. It's like training a muscle. At first, you will have to redirect your thoughts 100 times a day, but gradually it will become easier. You are rewiring your brain to seek validation and comfort from within, not from an external source. The third, and perhaps most crucial step, is to reinvest your energy back into your own life. The energy you were pouring into him is a powerful creative force. Now, you must claim it back. What have you neglected while you were waiting? Your friendships, your hobbies, your career, your physical health, your spiritual practice? This is not about distracting yourself. This is about actively rebuilding your world. A world that is so full and vibrant that there is simply no room for a man who is only present in his absence. Take that dance class, plan that trip, start that project, call that friend you've been meaning to connect with. Fill your own life with so much presence that his silence becomes irrelevant. As you do this, something magical begins to happen. Your sense of self-worth, which you had unconsciously projected onto him for safekeeping, begins to return to you. You remember who you were before he came along. You start to discover new parts of yourself. You become more interesting, more alive, more you. This is the process of individuation in action. You are separating your identity from his, withdrawing your projections, and becoming a whole, self-contained individual. The silent phone on the table begins to change its meaning. At first, it was a symbol of his rejection, a source of pain. As you do the work, it becomes a symbol of your discipline, a reminder to stay in your own frame. And eventually, you will look at the silent phone and feel nothing. Or better yet, you will feel peace. Its silence will no longer be his absence. It will be the sound of your own freedom. You will realize that the question was never, why is he silent? The real question was, why was I willing to wait in his silence? The answer to that question holds the key to your deepest patterns in relationships. Perhaps you learned in childhood that love was conditional, that you had to be quiet and patient and wait for it to be given to you. Perhaps you learned that your needs were secondary to the needs of others. His silence did not create this wound. It simply illuminated it. It brought the complex out of the shadow and into the light so that it could finally be healed. From this perspective, his silence was a gift. A painful, unwanted gift, but a gift nonetheless. It was the catalyst that forced you to confront the ways in which you abandon yourself. It was the fire that burned away the persona of the patient, understanding woman and revealed the powerful, sovereign being underneath. So, if he does reach out after weeks or months of silence, you will be able to engage with him from a place of wholeness, not need. You will be able to have an honest conversation about his withdrawal, not from a place of accusation, but from a place of curious, detached strength. You will be able to assess if he is truly capable of the connection you desire, or if he is simply testing the waters, hoping to pull you back into the old dance. And you will have the strength to walk away if he is not ready, because you are no longer afraid of the silence. You have made friends with it. You have learned that in the silence, you can hear your own soul. This is the ultimate reversal of the dynamic. He may have initiated the silence as a way to control his feelings, but you have perfected it as a way to liberate yourself. He built a fortress to keep love out. You have built a temple within yourself, where you are the only authority. So let the phone be silent. Let the space between you be empty. Turn your attention away from the closed door of his fortress and toward the open door of your own life. Walk through it. Don't look back. The greatest love story you will ever be a part of is the one about your return to yourself. My silence is not a game. It is my return to myself. But there is another layer to this process, one that lives not in the mind, but in the very tissues of your body. Remember that low-frequency hum of anticipation? That is the sound of your nervous system in a state of sustained hypervigilance, a state known as a freeze response. Your body, in its ancient wisdom, has interpreted this emotional threat of abandonment as a physical one. It has braced for impact. This is not a metaphor. Your fascia, the connective tissue that wraps around every muscle and organ, has likely tightened. Your psoas muscle, the deep core muscle that connects your spine to your legs and is intricately linked to your fight or flight response, is probably clenched. This is body memory. The weighting is stored in your cells. It's the reason for the unexplained fatigue, the tightness in your throat, the shallow breathing. Your body is holding the story that your mind is trying to solve. So when you begin the work of reclaiming your energy, the healing is not just psychological, it is somatic. As you consciously redirect your focus and reinvest in your own life, you must also invite your body to let go. This means breathing deeply, all the way into your belly. It means engaging in physical practices that discharge this stored energy, not punishing workouts, but gentle, mindful movement. Yoga, dancing in your living room, long walks in nature, even just stretching intentionally for 5 minutes. As you do this, you will notice the physical signs of your liberation. One day, you'll realize your shoulders are no longer up by your ears. You'll take a full, deep breath without thinking about it. The phantom vibrations will cease. The low-frequency hum will be replaced by a quiet stillness. This is your nervous system returning to a state of regulation. This is your body understanding, on a cellular level, that the threat has passed because you have become your own source of safety. You are literally unlearning the posture of waiting. And in this process of reclaiming your body and mind, you will inevitably encounter the darker parts of your own psyche that this situation has stirred up. The Jungian shadow is not just our fear and insecurity. It is also everything we deem unacceptable about ourselves. For the good, understanding woman, the shadow often contains a ferocious rage. It is the part of you that doesn't want to be patient. It's the part of you that wants to scream, to break things, to send the text message that lists all his failings and tells him exactly how much he has hurt you. We are taught to suppress this rage, to see it as unfeminine or hysterical. But this suppressed rage is a massive source of life force. It is pure, raw energy that, when left to fester in the shadow, turns into bitterness, cynicism, and passive aggression. The work here is not to act on the rage, it is to own it, to go somewhere private and allow yourself to feel its full intensity without judgment. Acknowledge it, give it a voice in your journal. I am furious that he made me feel this way. I am enraged by the disrespect of this silence. By bringing this shadow energy into the light of your own awareness, you integrate it. The rage, once acknowledged, transforms. Its raw power is no longer a destructive force aimed at him. It becomes fuel for your own boundaries. It becomes the fierce, protective energy that says, never again. I will never again allow my peace to be stolen like this. You are no longer just the patient maiden. You are also the warrior queen who protects her own kingdom. This integration is what leads to the most profound inner signs of your shift. It's more than just feeling better. It's a fundamental change in your state of being. You'll know the shift is real when you start forgetting to check if he's viewed your story. Not as an act of discipline, but because you were genuinely absorbed in a conversation with a friend or a project that excites you. You'll know it's real when a song that used to be a trigger comes on the radio, and you simply notice it, a ghost of a memory, before your mind moves on to what you need from the grocery store. The most telling sign is when you begin to make plans for your future, booking a flight, applying for a new job, signing a lease, and the thought of him doesn't even enter the calculation. The subconscious question, but what if he comes back right after I commit to this, is gone. It's gone because your future no longer has a space held open for him. You have filled that space yourself. You feel a quiet, settled compassion, not for him, but for the woman you used to be, the one who waited by the phone. You see her with love, but you no longer are her. And then comes the final test. It almost always comes. After weeks or even months of this sacred silence, after you have done the work and genuinely moved into your own center, a breadcrumb will appear. It's the 2 a.m. like on a photo from 3 years ago. It's the sudden, unexplained view on your Instagram story. It's a text that just says, "Hey." In this moment, your nervous system will give you the progress report. The old you, the one run by the abandonment complex, would have felt a massive jolt of adrenaline, a cocktail of hope and anxiety. Your heart would pound. Your mind would spin into overdrive. He's back. He's been thinking of me. What does it mean? How should I respond to seem cool but interested? The game would be on again, and you would be right back at the starting line, your hard-won peace shattered. But the new you, the integrated you, responds differently. You see the notification. You feel a flicker of recognition, an echo. But it is not a jolt. It doesn't hijack your system. You are able to observe the feeling from a distance. You have become the witness to your own reaction, rather than its victim. You see the breadcrumb for what it is, a low-investment, ambiguous probe from a man still in his fortress. He is likely feeling the ache of your absence and is testing the waters to see if your energy is still available to him. He is checking to see if the door is still unlocked. And you, in your newfound sovereignty, feel no urgent pull to respond. There is no anxiety, no game to be played. You might feel a touch of sadness for him, or you might feel nothing at all. You see the notification, you acknowledge it, and then you put your phone down and continue making your tea. You continue your life. Your peace is more valuable than his breadcrumb. You have shown yourself, and the universe, that the door is not unlocked. In fact, the door has vanished. There is only the solid, beautiful wall of your own self-respect. You have passed the test. This journey, this painful initiation through silence, was never truly about him. He was simply the character assigned to play the role of the catalyst. He was the mirror showing you the places where you were abandoning yourself. The purpose of this experience was not to get the man, but to become the woman. A woman who is so rooted in her own worth and so anchored in her own life that another person's silence is not a catastrophe, but merely a piece of information. And your heart, having been broken open and then lovingly tended to by you, is not harder or more closed off. It is wiser. It is more discerning. It has learned the crucial difference between an open heart and an unguarded one. You are now more capable of deep, authentic intimacy than ever before, because you will only engage with those who meet you in presence, not in absence. You will seek resonance, not dissonance. So let the silence linger. Let it be the quiet backdrop to your own vibrant, unfolding life. The story was never, why did he go quiet? The story is, and always was, what did I find when I learned to listen to my own silence? And in that quiet space, you did not find loneliness. You found your power. You found your peace. You found yourself, waiting for you all along.